What's up guys, welcome back to another video. This is a reaction to 50 insane facts about US geography you won't believe are true. It's a geography based video. This was posted literally 15 hours ago, so very recently. And yeah, I'm always here for these videos. This is from a channel that I feel like will give us some good facts as well, because this channel does do a lot of videos somewhat similar to this, and yeah, it's always quite a reliable channel for that. But we're going to check this out. I don't know if I'll react to the whole video. I might split it into two, but yeah, I've got to get a lot of stuff done today because I'm getting my wisdom teeth removed tomorrow and I'm shitting myself, and I just want to get loads of stuff done in advance. So pretty much when I am, like, after I've had the removal, I feel like the next few days I'll probably be a bit out of it. So I don't know if I'll be able to do videos or other stuff. So yeah, I'm just trying to sort of get ahead of myself. But yeah, we're going to check this out and see. And yeah, let's see some of these facts, and hopefully there's a lot of things that I've never seen before.
That there's a part of the US that experiences nighttime for months. How about the fact that Kentucky sits
Alaska.
on a sea? Or that there's a landmass in the US that's actually expanding. US geography is full of bizarre facts and surprises you would never imagine. So get ready. We're about to explore 50 more insane facts about US geography.
Here we go.
Kicking us off with number 50. Florida is home to thousands of sinkholes. The Sunshine State offers so much: golden beaches, diverse wildlife, retirement homes, and of course, Florida Man. But it's also apparently a great place to fall through the surface of the earth. A substantial part of Florida sits on top of limestone, which is easily dissolved by water. And because of this, several sinkholes have opened up under the surface. These include sinkholes off the coast, like the giant sinkhole 50 miles southwest of Sarasota called the Green Banana. This monster lies around 155 feet under the Gulf of Mexico's surface.
Oh, damn.
Despite the prevalence of sinkholes, Floridians seem to take it in stride, nicknaming Central Florida Sinkhole Valley. Fact 49. You can stand in 4 states at once. At the appropriately named Four Corners Monument, you can do something pretty surreal: stand in 4 states at the same time. This is the only spot in the US where 4 state borders meet: Arizona, Colorado, New Mexico, and Utah, all thanks to their largely square shapes. Fact number 48. The Rocky Mountains are still growing. The Appalachian Mountains stopped growing around 220 million years ago, but the Rocky Mountains are, geologically speaking, youngsters.
Wait, so how are they still growing?
Only 65 to 35 million years old, and they continue to grow even today. That's why the main mountain range of the US West Coast is much taller than the Appalachian Mountains, with the tallest mountain reaching up to 14,440 feet, while the tallest mountain in Appalachia only reaches up to 6,684 feet.
Okay.
Fact 47. Kentucky is almost evenly split between 2 time zones. Many large states are split into different time zones, but Kentucky is unique because it is practically split down the middle. The western part of the state, including important cities like Bowling Green, sits in the central time zone, while the eastern part of the state sits in Eastern Time, or EST. Next up, fact 46. The US has the largest island in the largest lake in the largest island in the largest lake in the world. The US side of Lake Superior, the largest of the Great Lakes, includes the Apostle Islands, a group of 22 islands known for kayaking, hiking, and other outdoor adventures in the area, and Isle Royale, the largest island in the lake by far. Isle Royale has several lakes on it, the largest of which is Lake Siskiwit, and that lake has a few tiny islands, the largest of which is Ryan Island. All this is a result of the glacial activity.
That's pretty cool. Imagine there was a lake within that island as well. That would have been crazy stuff.
That originally formed the Great Lakes, leaving plenty of bodies of water and islets scattered behind. Fact 45. Nevada has over 600 ghost towns.
What? Is that to do with like mining or like the gold rush?
Nevada has over 600 abandoned towns, many of them boom and bust towns left over from the gold rush and railroad construction heyday of the state. The most famous ghost town by far is Rhyolite, which was founded in 1905 and sits on the eastern border of Death Valley National Park. Fact 44. Minnesota.
It's pretty cool though. That makes like some interesting sort of road trips you could go on, like exploring ghost towns in Nevada.
Does not have 10,000 lakes. Minnesota is known as the land of 10,000 lakes, but that nickname isn't actually true. In fact, Minnesota has around 11,800 lakes, with some
Jesus.
sources claiming over 14,000 throughout the state. That leads us into our next fact, number 43.
Wait, so they don't even know how many lakes are here? It's just more than 10,000.
Minnesota doesn't have the most lakes of any state. Despite its reputation,
Alaska?
Minnesota is not the most lake-covered state in the country. That honor goes to Alaska,
Yeah.
with a whopping 3.2 million lakes throughout its territory,
What?
although only around 3,200 of them have been named. The sheer number of lakes is mostly due to past glacial activity, rainfall, and the current Arctic climate, which causes glaciers and permafrost to melt, creating millions upon millions of lakes.
Jesus.
Fact number 42. The US has the only territory in the UTC-12 time zone. In addition to the 50 main states, the US has many territories abroad,
Oh, like
mostly in the
Guam
Caribbean Sea
and
and the
stuff.
Pacific Ocean. Most of its territories in the Pacific, with the exception of Guam, fall under the US minor outlying islands.
There you go.
These include Howland and Baker Islands, which have the distinction of being the only land masses in the world that fall within the rarest time zone on Earth,
Damn.
UTC-12. Though other countries and islands in the area, like Tonga, Fiji, and Samoa, fall within similar longitudes, they've decided to stick with neighboring time zones instead, to facilitate easier communication and working relationships with their neighbors. However, Howland and Baker Islands are uninhabited, functioning mostly as wildlife refuges and nature preserves today.
Okay.
Keeping with the theme of separation, fact number 41. One state capital can't be accessed by road. Juneau, Alaska is surrounded by mountains and glaciers, making driving into it almost impossible. For that reason, people have to get to Juneau by sea or air, making it the only state capital that can't be accessed by road. Okay, technically, Honolulu can't be accessed by road from the rest of the mainland US either, but it does have roads leading to it from the rest of the island, so we won't count it here. Fact
Fair.
number 40. The US-Canada border is the longest undefended border in the world. Maybe it's because of the friendly relations between the two nations, or maybe it's the miles of snow-covered forests and ice-cold lakes acting as a natural barrier.
Oh.
Either way, neither country has felt the need to build much in the way of border defenses. That makes the US-Canada border, which adds up to almost 5,525 miles, the longest undefended border in the world. Fact 39. 10% of the world's freshwater is in Lake Superior. Everyone knows that the Great Lakes are huge, but did you know that Lake Superior, the largest
This alone has 10% of fresh water. Holy shit.
of them all, is so large that 10% of the entire world's freshwater supply is held within it? It's the largest freshwater lake by surface area in the world. It
Jesus.
covers 31,700 square miles with an average depth of 483 feet. Fact number 38. The Florida Keys are partly made of coral. The Florida Keys, made up of over 1,700
The Florida Keys will always baffle me, man. Such an interesting place.
named islands and many extra minor ones, expand off the southern tip of Florida into the Gulf of Mexico. In addition to being home to North America's only coral reef, the
Imagine living here. I mean, it's going to cost a lot, but bloody hell, look at this place.
Keys themselves are partly made of coral as well. Specifically, the Upper Keys are made of the remains of ancient coral reefs that thrived during the Pleistocene epoch 125,000 years ago, when sea levels were much higher. Meanwhile, the Lower Keys are mostly made of sandbars. Fact 37. The US had a city larger than London in 1100. The Cahokia Mounds are a popular tourist attraction in Illinois and are the largest pre-Columbian site north of Mexico. They're also the remains of a massive Native American city that was flourishing all the way back in the 12th century. The mounds cover around 4,000 acres, or 1,600 hectares, and based on the findings there, archaeologists estimate the population to have been around 20,000 people in 1100. At that time, the city of London had just over 15,000 people. Details about the civilization, including why it ended up disappearing, remain unknown to this day, though. Fact 36. The Salton Sea was the result of poor construction, and
The Salton Sea, is that the one, the really, really toxic one in like California?
led to
think
its
it is.
abandonment. In 1905, an irrigation canal was being built in the Imperial Valley near the then Salton Sink that had formed thanks to the San Andreas Fault activity in the area. During the construction, the Colorado River breached a shoddy canal, leading to water pouring into the sink, making it the Salton Sea. Though this would soon make it a premier destination within California, the way it was formed would also lead to its downfall. The Salton Sea kept getting replenished by the irrigation runoff in the area, but there was one big problem. The water flowing in had nowhere to go. Over time, it kept depositing salt until the sea became 50% saltier than the ocean. This killed off most of the fish and other living things in the sea.
How can any fish even survive that?
Leading to dead animal bodies
Or sea creatures in general.
washing up on shore and a stench that remains to this day.
Jesus.
Local hotels had no way to put a positive spin on that, and eventually, the Salton Sea was mostly abandoned.
Wow.
Fact 35.
What could have been, man? I guess it could have been so much different.
There's only one tropical rainforest in U.S. territory. El Yunque National Forest is on the Caribbean island of Puerto Rico. Most of the mainland U.S., with the exception of the very tip of Florida, doesn't have the climate to support a rainforest, making El Yunque the only tropical rainforest on U.S. territory. Even at a massive 29,000 acres, it's still one of the smallest forests within the U.S. It's also one of the most diverse when it comes to plants and wildlife. That being said, the U.S. does have plenty of temperate rainforests in the Pacific Northwest and Appalachian Mountains, one of the most famous being in Washington's Olympic National Park. Fact 34. Water flows into 3 oceans from one mountain. In Montana's Glacier National Park lies
3 oceans?
the Triple Divide Peak.
Oh yeah, because I guess it's going to be connected to like what's the fucking river called? I forgot.
Though most water in the U.S. flows toward one ocean, depending on which watershed
The Mississippi River.
it's located in,
it is the Mississippi
water
River,
from
right?
the Triple Divide Peak flows
just
into
had
the
a brain
Pacific
fart.
Ocean, Atlantic Ocean,
It goes north as well. Bloody hell.
and even the Arctic Ocean. That's because
I don't think it is the Mississippi River because I don't think this goes through Mississippi here. Oh, I don't know.
3 massive river systems come together at this point. Water can either go into the Mississippi and
Oh, it is
Missouri
the
rivers,
Mississippi.
ending
There
up
you
in the
go.
Gulf of Mexico, the Columbia River that empties into the Pacific Ocean, or the Saskatchewan River that winds up into
mental.
Hudson Bay, and eventually the Arctic Ocean. Fact 33. Niagara Falls is not the tallest waterfall in the U.S. The honor of the tallest waterfall in the country goes to Yosemite Falls in Yosemite National Park. Water at the top of the waterfall plunges 2,400
crazy.
feet toward the base below.
There's like 2 separate ones as well.
Niagara Falls is famous partly because it provides a very scenic view, but mostly because it's the largest waterfall by width and volume. At peak flow, more than 700,000 gallons per second
I mean, let's be real. This one looks a lot cooler. This one is mad.
rush towards its base at 25 miles an hour. Number 32. St. Augustine is the oldest continuously inhabited town in the U.S. Spanish explorers founded St. Augustine, Florida in 1565, making it the oldest continuously inhabited town in the U.S.
Holy
Older
shit.
Native American settlements unfortunately can't lay claim to that title, as most of them were forcibly abandoned. Fact number 31. Oklahoma has a panhandle because of slavery. Take a look at a U.S. map, and you might spot something unusual. A narrow strip of land stretching across the top of Texas, but belonging to Oklahoma. This panhandle is just 34 miles wide, making it one of the most distinctive quirks of the state's shape. Originally, it belonged to Texas, who wanted to enter the Union as a slave-owning state. Thanks to the Missouri Compromise, slavery wasn't allowed north of the 36-degree 30-minute latitude. So, Texas gave up a small sliver of its northern border for slavery.
Damn.
That land is now
Crazy.
known as no man's land, and less than 1% of Oklahomans live there.
Wow.
Fact number 30. Cimarron County is the only county to border 4 states. Speaking of the Panhandle, thanks to its odd geography, it's also home to the only state to border 4 other states. Cimarron County, located in the western end of the Oklahoma Panhandle, borders Texas, Kansas, Colorado, and New Mexico. It has a population of almost 2,200, so very few people get to experience the ease of traveling to 4 states from there. Fact 29. Allen, South Dakota is the most landlocked point in the Western Hemisphere.
Oh, shit.
Allen,
That's pretty
South
cool.
Dakota is the most inaccessible.
I say pretty cool. That's actually pretty sad. So by landlocked, it means no water at all, or just like lakes and stuff. So it wouldn't be just lakes, would it? Because that wouldn't make it landlocked. No, it's like the ocean.
Place by sea in the entire U.S. 1,020.
But I guess you could go to like these lakes and you can sort of experience like an ocean here, can't you? Like you have like beaches here and stuff.
5 miles from both the Pacific and Atlantic Oceans. Today, it's part of the Pine Ridge Indian Reservation in Bennett County. Number 28. Texas is bigger than any country fully in the European
Holy
continent.
shit.
Everything's bigger in Texas, including, apparently, the state itself. Excluding Russia, which has most of its landmass in Asia, Texas is bigger than any individual European country fully.
Europe is absolutely tiny, isn't it? Europe is such a small continent. It's mad.
On the continent itself.
It's probably the smallest continent in terms of size, maybe other than is it Oceania or Australasia or whatever it's called. But no, some people call it Australia as the continent, don't they? Which I find mad. I never knew that. I call it Oceania, but I mean Australia alone probably is the size of nearly Europe, isn't it? So actually, yeah, I would say Europe's probably the smallest continent by land mass. Again, if you exclude like a majority of Russia and stuff.
The state has an area of over 268,000
Or
square
second smallest
miles.
behind Oceania.
The biggest European country is Ukraine, at an area of almost 233,000
And it's getting smaller as well.
square miles, followed by France at an area of around 210,000 square miles. Fact number 27. Maryland is the only state with no natural lakes. You might think that the dry, desert-covered southwestern states would lack lakes, but no. Maryland is actually the only U.S. state without natural lakes. Lake Haby and Deep Creek Lake, 2 known Maryland lakes, are both man-made. Even Arizona has naturally occurring Mormon Lake and Stoneman Lake, though they occasionally dry up during long droughts. Fact number 26. Vermont was its own country for 14 years.
What?
People may think of Texas as the once independent state that also thinks of independence again from time to time, but actually, Vermont was its own country for 14 years. After the start of the Revolutionary War in 1776, Vermont decided it wasn't being treated well by either the British king or the state of New York, so it may as well go in its own direction. It declared itself independent in 1777. The newly formed country had its own currency and its own constitution, one that abolished slavery and gave all free men the right to vote. Though Vermont joined the newly formed United States in 1791, it still references its constitution when passing and enforcing laws today.
Damn.
Fact number 24.
Alright, well there we go. I'm going to leave it halfway through here. I mean, I actually did enjoy this, to be fair. There's a lot of good facts here, so I will definitely react to part 2. Gulf of Mexico is where the Mississippi River empties. What? I don't think anyone's angry about that. But yeah, hopefully you guys enjoyed this reaction. I've got, like I said, I've got a lot of stuff to do, so I want to try and get a lot of things done. So I'm going to shorten this reaction, but I will do a reaction to part 2. But I enjoyed this. Some interesting facts. Hopefully you enjoyed. And until next time, like, subscribe, and peace.